The year is 1971. The Cold War is not fought only on land, or in the sky, or in the halls of Washington. It is fought in silence, in darkness, 400 feet beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean. America is losing the information war. The Soviet Union is testing nuclear missiles, moving submarines, and coordinating military operations. And the United States cannot hear any of it. The NSA is blind, the CIA is desperate, and somewhere in a classified briefing room, someone asks a question that changes history. What if we could tap directly into the Soviets' own communication lines? What if we could listen to everything, without them ever knowing we were there? That question becomes Operation Ivy Bells. And what follows is one of the most audacious, most dangerous, and most heartbreaking intelligence operations America has ever attempted. The Soviets have an underwater communication cable running along the floor of the Sea of Okhotsk, a remote freezing stretch of water off the Soviet Pacific coast. This cable carries military communications, submarine coordinates, nuclear launch protocols. If America can access that cable, they gain a window directly into the Soviet military's most guarded secrets. But the Sea of Okhotsk is Soviet territory. Soviet naval ships patrol those waters constantly, and the cable sits 400 feet below the surface, in near-freezing temperatures, in absolute darkness. To reach it, the Navy sends the USS Halibut, a modified submarine carrying a team of saturation divers. These are not ordinary men. They live for days inside pressurized chambers, breathing a special mixture of oxygen and helium that makes their voices sound strange and thin. When they speak, they sound almost inhuman, because what they are asked to do is almost inhuman. They descend into water so dark, so cold, so deep, that a single mistake means death. There is no rescue. There is no backup. If a Soviet vessel detects them, there is no negotiating. The mission does not exist. These men do not exist, but they find the cable. And with extraordinary precision, in complete silence, they wrap a custom-built recording pod directly around it. The pod is massive, 17 feet long, over 3 tons. It does not cut the cable. It does not interrupt the signal. It simply listens, and it records everything. The Soviets never notice. Why would they? They believe their underwater cables are completely secure. They believe no one could ever reach them at that depth, in those waters. That confidence becomes their greatest vulnerability. For nearly a decade, Operation Ivy Bells delivers. American intelligence analysts receive recordings of actual Soviet military communications. They learn about weapon systems, naval movements, strategic planning. It is, by every measure, one of the most successful espionage operations in American history. And almost no one in the world knows it exists. Then everything collapses. His name is Ronald Pelton. He is not a soldier. He is not a field agent. He is an analyst, a communications specialist who works inside the National Security Agency. He has top-secret clearance. He has access to some of America's most classified programs. And in 1980, drowning in personal debt, Ronald Pelton walks into the Soviet embassy and sells everything he knows. He sells Operation Ivy Bells for $35,000. The Soviets move immediately. Soviet naval vessels sail directly to the location, a location they should have had no way of knowing. They pull the recording pod from the ocean floor. In one night, 10 years of bravery, 10 years of impossible missions, 10 years of men risking their lives in freezing darkness, gone. Erased by one man, sitting in a room, making a phone call. The operation continues for a time, unaware that it has been compromised. It is not until 1985, when a Soviet defector confirms the leak, that the full scale of the betrayal becomes clear. Pelton is arrested. He confesses. He is convicted and sentenced to 3 life terms in prison. But the pod is never recovered. It sits today, presumably, in a Russian military archive or at the bottom of that cold Black Sea. A monument to 10 years of courage that the world was never supposed to know about. The men who dove into those waters received no public medals, no parades, no acknowledgement. They carried the weight of that mission in silence, the same silence in which they worked. And the man who destroyed it all did so not out of ideology, not out of political belief, but for $35,000. In the Cold War, the most dangerous weapon was never a missile. It was a secret. And sometimes, the most devastating enemy was already inside the room.